That's huge. That is a biggie. It's out of...
Prime Brian Lara was so good that his records still stand to date. Having the highest score on a streak in both test and first-class matches is not something that even the best players in today's game can achieve. Popularly known as the Prince of Port of Spain, Brian Lara went from an overhyped prodigy to actually backing his hype up and becoming the best in the world. But how good was he to be called the best in the world?
Lara's, he's, again, just a special player. You watch him, you want to watch him more, and
Welcome to Cricket Insights, where we explore the fascinating world of cricket. On this channel, we bring you comprehensive information on players' careers and intriguing facts and insights about the sport. Whether you're a seasoned fan or new to the game, you'll find captivating content, engaging stories, and surprising trivia here. Subscribe now to ensure that you don't miss any of the action. Today, we delve into the magical career of Brian Lara, the Prince of Port of Spain.
You'd have nightmares about it.
Oh, Lara opens up on the offside. That's the shot of the afternoon by the Prince.
But to fully appreciate his peak performance, it's essential to first explore his early beginnings and development. From a very young age, Brian Lara's parents did not need a medium to tell them that he was destined for greatness. Being one who stands out among 11 siblings, his father, Bunty, and his older sister, Agnes Cyrus, signed him up for cricket coaching when he was just 6 years old, and at 14, the young prodigy moved to Fatima College and trained under coach Harry Ramdas. That little push indeed worked miracles because that same year, Brian scored 745 runs in the Schoolboys League, averaging 126.16 per inning, and that got him into the Trinidad and Tobago under-16 team. By 15, the youngster was already playing in his first West Indian under-19 tournament. In 1987, Brian Lara finally had his big break. He scored 498 runs in the West Indies Youth Championships that year and broke Carl Hooper's previous record of 480.
This is the first ball to Lara. Oh, and it's a little bit edgy, and it's going to go all the way down to third man, so...
He also led Trinidad and Tobago to victory in the tournament with a key 116-run performance. That was enough for a first-class debut for Trinidad and Tobago against the Leeward Islands in January of the following year. In Lara's second match, he scored 92 runs against a strong Barbados team, and later that year, he captained the West Indies team in Australia for the Bicentennial Youth World Cup, where they reached the semifinals. His 182 innings as the captain of the West Indies, under-23s against the Indian team further boosted his reputation. Lara's career was moving abnormally fast, but it was still not fast enough because as soon as he got selected for the main West Indies team, tragedy struck.
Driver said yes, so I drove him behind the team bus from London to Birmingham, and you need to know the size of Trinidad.
The star had to withdraw from the team due to his father's death. After a while of mourning, Lara made his way back to the sport, and in 1989 he captained the West Indies B team in Zimbabwe and scored 145 runs. At just 20 years old in 1990, he became Trinidad and Tobago's youngest ever captain, leading them to win the Geddes Grant Shield. That same year, he made his test debut for the West Indies against Pakistan, scoring 44 runs. He had also made his one-day international debut a month earlier against Pakistan, scoring 11 runs.
Oh, big cracking sweep shot. Justin Langer had 15 metres to move, and it was over the ropes.
In 1987, Lara had a breakthrough year when he scored 498 runs in the West Indies Youth Championships, breaking Carl Hooper's previous record of 480 runs set the year before. He captained the tournament-winning Trinidad and Tobago, who profited from a match-winning 116 from Lara. In January 1988, Lara made his first-class debut for Trinidad and Tobago in the Red Stripe Cup against the Leeward Islands. In his second first-class match, he scored 92 against a Barbados attack involving Joel Garner and Malcolm Marshall, two greats of West Indies teams. Later in the same year, he captained the West Indies team in Australia for the Bicentennial Youth World Cup, where the West Indies reached the semifinals.
Goes for it. It's beaten the man. Square leg. That will do it. 8 scores of 200 or more.
Later that year, his innings of 182 as captain of the West Indies under-23s against the touring Indian team further elevated his reputation. His first selection for the full West Indies team followed in due course, but unfortunately coincided with the death of his father, and Lara withdrew from the team. In 1989, he captained a West Indies B team in Zimbabwe and scored 145. In 1990, at the age of 20, Lara became Trinidad and Tobago's youngest ever captain, leading them that season to victory in the one-day Gettys Grant Shield. It was also in 1990 that he made his belated Test debut for the West Indies against Pakistan, scoring 44-5. He had made his ODI debut a month earlier against Pakistan, scoring 11. Lara holds several world records for high scoring. He has the highest individual score in both first-class cricket and Test cricket.
There he goes. That's a 300 for Lara. He'll get there comfortably. Second triple century for Brian Lara, and isn't he happy?
Lara also amassed the world record of 501 in 474 minutes off only 427 balls. He hit 308 in boundaries. His partners were Roger Tews, Trevor Penny, Paul Smith, and Keith Piper. Earlier in that season, Lara scored 6 centuries in 7 innings while playing for Warwickshire. He is the only man to have reclaimed the Test record score, having scored 375 against England in 1994, a record that stood until Matthew Hayden's 380 against Zimbabwe in 2003. His 400, not out, also made him the second player to score 2 Test triple centuries and the second to score 2 first-class quadruple centuries. He has scored 9 double centuries in Test cricket, third after Bradman's 12 and Kumar Sangakkara's 11. As a captain, Lara scored 5 double centuries, which is the highest by anyone in charge.
And runs scored, trophies won. I think that if there's one praise I can definitely heap on him is that he'd most likely have had the greatest cricketing career.
In 1995, in the Test match away series against England, he scored 3 centuries in 3 consecutive matches. The Test series was eventually drawn 2-2, but Lara earned the Man of the Series award. Amazingly, Brian Lara also holds the record for the highest total number of runs in a Test career after overtaking Alan Border in an innings of 226 played at the Adelaide Oval, Australia. In November 2005, Sachin Tendulkar of India finally broke this record on October 17, 2008, during the second test of the Border Gavaskar Trophy against Australia in Mohali. Lara captained the West Indies from 1998 to 1999 when the West Indies suffered their first whitewash at the hands of South Africa. Following this, they played Australia in a 4-test series, which was drawn 2-2, with Lara scoring 546 runs, including 3 centuries and 1 double hundred. In the second test at Kingston, he scored 213, while in the third test, he scored 153 in the second innings as the West Indies chased down 311 with 1 wicket left.
What a shot. Just straight onto the leg middle stump, and he's gripped it away beautifully. All the way on the carpet.
He won the Man of the Match award for both matches and was also named Man of the Series. The Wisden 100 rates Lara's 153 not out against Australia in Bridgetown in 1998, 99 as the second best innings ever after Sir Donald Bradman's 270 against England in Melbourne in 1936-37. In 2001, Lara was named the Man of the Carlton Series in Australia with an average of 46.50, the highest average by a West Indian in that series, scoring 2 half-centuries and 1 century, 116 against Australia. That same year, Lara amassed 688 runs in the 3-match away Test series against Sri Lanka, making 3 centuries and 150, including the double century and a century in the first and second innings of the 3rd Test match at the Sinhalese Sports Ground, equating to 42% of the team's runs in that series. These extraordinary performances led Muttiah Muralitharan to state that Lara was the most dangerous batsman he had ever bowled to. Lara was reappointed as captain against the touring Australians in 2003, and struck 110 in his first Test match back in charge, showing a return to stellar performance. Later that season, under his captaincy, the West Indies won the 2-match Test series against Sri Lanka 1-0.
He's down the track this time. Go and look for that one.
That's a fine shot. He's got it away.
With Lara making a double century in the first Test. In September 2004, the West Indies won the 2004 ICC Champions Trophy in England under his captaincy. For his performances in 2004, he was named both in the World Test 1 and the ODI 1 by the ICC. In March 2005, Lara declined selection for the West Indies team because of a dispute over his personal cable and wireless sponsorship deal, which clashed with the Cricket Board's main sponsor, Digicel. 6 other players were involved in this dispute, including stars Chris Gayle, Ramnaresh Sarwan, and Dwayne Bravo. Lara said he declined selection out of solidarity when these players were dropped because of their sponsorship deals. The issue was resolved after the first Test of the series against the touring South African team. Lara returned to the team for the second Test, but in the process, he lost his captaincy indefinitely to the newly appointed Shivnarine Chanderpaul. In the next Test, against the same opponents, he scored 176 in the first inning. After a one-day series against South Africa, he scored his first Test century against the visiting Pakistan.
Well, there he is, a man in form. He's hit a 6 off Canaria. A shot created of a pretty decent...
in the first Test at Kensington Oval, Bridgetown, Barbados, which the West Indies eventually won. For his performances in 2005, he was named in the World Test 1 by the ICC. On April 19, 2007, Lara announced his retirement from all forms of international cricket, indicating that the West Indies versus an England match on April 21, 2007 would be his last international appearance. In the match, he was run out after a bad mix-up with Marlon Samuels for 18, and England went on to win the match by 1 wicket. After the match, Lara took a lap of honor and announced that he still planned on being involved with the sport. 2 years later, Lara made a dramatic comeback in the ICL by scoring a match-winning 100 against Guyana. In the second inning, he continued his impressive performance with an undefeated half-century, scoring over 2 runs per ball in the third-round game. It seemed like he still got it until he suffered a fractured arm against the Leeward Islands in St. Martin on January 19, 2009, which kept him out of the ICL season. He nevertheless affirmed his commitment to returning to 2020 cricket, and on the 27th of June 2010, he appeared for the Marylebone Cricket Club match against a touring Pakistan team, scoring 37 from 32 balls. In 2012, Lara became involved with the Bangladesh Premier League team, the Chittagong Kings, as their brand ambassador. On the bicentennial anniversary of Lord's Ground, he played for the team of MCC, under the leadership of Sachin Tendulkar, against the rest of the world to win in a 50-over game. He went on to score a half-century in an eventual win for the MCC. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on our next cricket insights. See you in the next video. Bye for now.